All right, everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. This time we're heading over to Bangkok to explore Patpong.
Patpong.
Yeah, Patpong.
Okay, so we're talking about the red light district.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's got like way more to it than you might think. And get this, we found a medical cannabis dispensary smack dab in the middle of it all.
Whoa, seriously, that's wild. Talk about a clash of cultures.
Right, like you've got this place steeped in history, known for, and then bam, legal weed.
It's like stepping into a time warp. Where did you even find this place?
So the place is called House of Pot, and it's actually in Silom Plaza, right off Silom Road.
House of Pot. I love it. Okay, I gotta ask, how does something like that even end up in Patpong?
That's what we're here to uncover. It's all about connections, right? Unexpected threads weaving through history. But to really get into it, we need to rewind the clock a bit, like way back to 1946.
1946, okay.
So picture this. A Chinese immigrant family, the Patpong Panich, arrive in Bangkok, and they decide to buy some land. Now get this, they get this prime piece of real estate, the land that'll eventually become Patpong, for, are you ready for this?
How much?
$24,000.
No way! For the whole area, you could barely buy a parking space for that now.
I know, it's insane to think about. But it gets even more interesting. This wasn't just any old plot. It has this whole hidden history. During World War II, it was a Japanese military headquarters.
Wow.
And if you go even further back, it was a banana plantation.
You're kidding. From bananas to barracks to, well, Patpong's had quite the journey.
And the story's just getting started. So the Thai king, he hears about the Patpong Panich family, and he's so impressed he decides to name the land after them. Patpong Soi 1.
So that's where the name comes from? I always wonder.
Yep, directly from the family. Little did they know their name would become synonymous with, well, everything Patpong is known for.
It's amazing how these things happen, but how does a family plot of land, even with a cool name, transform into, well, Patpong?
That, my friend, is where the Vietnam War enters the picture.
The Vietnam War. Hold on, I thought we were talking about Bangkok.
We are. But the Vietnam War had a huge impact on Patpong. See, during the war, Bangkok became this, like, R&R spot for American GIs.
Ah, so that's how American culture started influencing Patpong. It all makes sense now.
Right. And of course, with the influx of GIs came the demand for entertainment restaurants, bars, all that jazz.
Yes, huh? I bet there were some interesting musical influences coming in, too.
Oh, absolutely. Places like the Red Door, Max's Place, they became legendary. But one spot in particular really shook things up, the Mississippi Queen.
The Mississippi Queen? Sounds intriguing. What made them so special?
Well, they took a chance, a big one. They brought go-go dancing to Bangkok.
No way. Go-go dancing in the 60s. Talk about ahead of their time.
And they didn't stop there. They also brought in American soul music. It was this wild fusion of cultures right there in the heart of Bangkok.
So Patpong was already pushing boundaries back then. That's pretty cool. It's like this mix of American influence and Thai tradition was already brewing.
It's fascinating, right? And this fusion of influences, well, that's where things start to get really interesting.
So we left off with go-go dancing and American soul music hitting the streets of Bangkok.
Yeah, talk about a cultural cocktail.
Yeah.
But things didn't stay frozen in time, did they?
Oh, not at all. Fast forward to the 80s, Patpong's booming.
Booming? How booming are we talking?
Think over 100 bars packed into those two little Soy 1 and Soy 2.
Oh, 100 bars. Seriously. That's like a bar every 10 steps.
Pretty much. And they weren't just holes in the wall. This is when those iconic 3-story townhouses really took off. Downstairs, go-go bars, music, the works. But go up a level.
Up a level. Things get a little more risque.
Let's just say the upper floors cater to a certain clientele looking for more, shall we say, private entertainment.
Ugh, a classic Patpong business model. Smart, I gotta give him that. But with that much competition, how did they stand out? It's not like they could leave a Yelp review.
Back then, it was all about reputation. Some places, like the King's Group, built their name on consistency. You knew what you were getting, and their standards were high.
Reliability, a solid business strategy in any era.
Exactly. Then you had places like the Takura Bar. They went for that exclusive, classy vibe. Think plush velvet, low lighting, beautiful hostesses.
So even within Patpong, there were levels. Something for everyone, I guess, but, every good thing.
Faces some competition. And the 90s, Patpong's rivals stepped onto the scene.
Ooh, things are getting tense. Who are we talking about?
Nana Plaza was the new kid on the block.
Nana Plaza, yeah, I've heard of it.
It went all out, huge complex, tons of clubs, Really embraced that in-your-face vibe.
So totally different vibe than Patpong then.
They were going for a different crowd for sure. And then you had Soy Cowboy.
Which, hold on, isn't that closer to Patpong in terms of, let's say, its offerings?
You could say that. So Cowboy appealed to tourists, but it also had a big Japanese expat crowd.
Okay, so two very different competitors trying to get a piece of the same pie. How did Patpong handle the pressure? Did they fold?
Patpong's a survivor. They didn't try to outdo the competition, they adapted.
Adapted how?
They knew they couldn't rely on just being the original forever. Some of those older spots closed down, new places popped up. Bada Bing, Black Pagoda. They brought a new energy to the area.
A constant evolution, always keeping things interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But let's circle back to that cannabis dispensary you mentioned. It's a pretty wild twist in the Patpong story. How Sapat was it?
Yeah, like imagine you're walking down the street, neon lights everywhere, music thumping, and then bam, you see a sign for a medical cannabis dispensary. It's surreal.
So we've talked about the history, the competition, but that cannabis dispensary, House of Pot, that's what's really throwing me for a loop. It just seems so out of place, yet it's there.
It definitely challenges your expectations. You go from the sensory overload of Patpong straight into this like oasis of calm. I've been inside, and it's not what you'd expect.
Really? What's it like? Give us the inside scoop.
It's modern, sleek. They've got this whole wall of herbs in these glass jars, very apothecary-like. And the staff, they're super knowledgeable, explaining the different strains and everything. It's very professional.
Huh. So not your typical back alley kind of dispensary then?
Not even close. It's clear they're going for a different vibe, a different clientele altogether. And you know what? It seems to be working.
So who's going there? Is it locals looking for pain relief or something? Or are tourists just curious?
Honestly, it's a real mix. You've got older Thai people, maybe with arthritis or chronic pain, looking into CBD products. Then there are younger folks, expats, even the occasional curious tourist interested in trying something new.
It's wild to think that something as taboo as cannabis, at least for a while, is now readily available in a place like Patpong. What do you think that says about Thailand in general?
I think it speaks volumes about how much Thailand's changing. They're opening up to new ideas, new possibilities. And let's be honest, the world's view on cannabis has shifted dramatically.
It's almost like Patpong is a microcosm of Thailand, wouldn't you say?
Oh.
A place grappling with its past, embracing the future, pushing boundaries.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of Patpong, isn't it? It's a constant evolution, a fusion of old and new.
You know, for anyone listening who wants to really dig into the history of Patpong, there's actually a Patpong museum.
No way! A whole museum dedicated to Patpong. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's full of photos, stories, artifacts, all chronicling its journey. It's amazing to see how far it's come from those early days.
It just goes to show there's always more than meets the eye, especially with a place like Patpong.
Well said. It's been quite a journey exploring the unexpected world of Patpong, from its humble beginnings to its present-day transformation.
Absolutely. Who knew a deep dive into Patpong would uncover such a captivating blend of history, culture, and now even cannabis?
It's a reminder that the world's full of surprises, and sometimes the most unexpected places hold the most fascinating stories. So until next time, keep exploring, keep those questions coming, and thanks for joining us on this deep dive.